I will be finishing Dungeon Meshi in the very near future on the channel, and so if I want to continue uploading videos to this channel, I felt it would behoove me to start a new series. As such, I made a poll on the channel in the community post kind of section that YouTube gives you some weeks back, and despite the fact that there are only 30 subscribers on this channel, about 20 people, almost 20 people, voted in that poll. It offered Mushoku Tensei, Blue Lock, Link Click, and the Apothecary Diaries. And the Apothecary Diaries ran away with the poll a bit. It got over half of the votes, and with Blue Lock getting only, I think, one vote from what I was calculating, the fact that one of the remaining three options got over half the vote was pretty significant, I felt. So here we are watching the Apothecary Diaries. And the thing about all of those series that I put in that poll is that I know basically nothing about all of them. uh, Based on the name Jobless Reincarnation, I can guess that that series is some form of shonen isekai. Blue Lock, I know, is a sports anime with a very big dash of anime. Link Click, I don't think I know really anything about other than the fact that it is a drama, I believe. And then the Apothecary Diaries, the only thing that I really think I know about this series is that it's gorgeous. I have seen a bit of what the animation looks like, and frankly speaking, I am a slut for good animation, so that's all I needed to convince me to give it a shot. So we are going to try watching the Apothecary Diaries. Hopefully, I enjoy it. And yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I guess let's get into it. All right, episode 1 of the Apothecary Diaries, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, and we are... Okay, no cold open. We are starting with the OP, it seems like. Cool, new series, new OP. If the show itself is animated beautifully, then I imagine that the OP is probably going to be pretty as well. I was going to say, I was going to call it pretty, and then I used pretty as an adjective and sort of lost the... A lot of flowers. I feel like the last time I saw this many flowers in anime was Hell's Paradise, and that series was a bit of a disappointment, let's say, for numerous reasons. So hopefully that is the first and last comparison I make with the show and that show. I have no idea what I'm looking at. No idea what I just saw in that. But yeah, let's find out what's going on. Oh, what was that? Definitely in the first, just in the first minute, definitely gonna say that I am currently not disappointed in what I was expecting from the anime, from the animation rather. Oh, what happened there? Okay, so this is a common thing for Okay, so she gets hurt a lot from experimenting with drugs. Well, you seem to be well nourished. Explosions? She is gone. First mention of that, and she's out. Okay, so these girls seem to like her. Oh, sparkles. Okay, so she's like really big into her craft. Oh, well, rip. Okay, that was a recollectional. Okay, okay, okay. And now it's snowing. Ooh, pretty. That gate in the middle, it's fine. I'm not going to pretend like I understand architecture. We are skipping around all over the place. Oh, okay, so she's been stuck here for three. Okay. She doesn't even know what's going on. Ew. I like the little explainer there just in case anybody in the audience didn't know what a eunuch was. 1,000 eunuchs! Rip. She seems very confident. Yeah, that tracks. Yep. Okay. Yeah, she's very aware of like the social structures at play here. Lama. Oh, her freckles are seen as a detractor from her appearance. I mean, I guess that's fair. I don't like some of my. Yeah, I've got some freckles and moles that I definitely consider unappealing. But some girls look really cute. I shouldn't say just girls. She obviously I said girls because she's a girl, but some people in general look really cute with freckles. This girl just seems like a disaster. I'm sorry. Ooh. Ooh. So maybe that birth didn't go as well as they initially thought, it seems. Oh, what? Oh. This girl. I she doesn't strike me as the type to care about rumors. I wonder what the like actual ailment is. I'm sure that they're mirroring some like real life condition, right? Has to be a curse. Okay, I think I can see the initial trajectory that we're on right now. She's been intentionally keeping her head down here for multiple reasons, but something is going to happen and serve as a catalyst for her skills as a prior apothecary to come into play. Seems like that catalyst might just be professional pride, which, you know what? Honestly, relatable. Ooh, she's like, yeah, she's like skin and bones now. Uh, yeah. Hasn't noticed what? How did she disappear? Unnecessarily pretty shot of these flowers. Oh my god, was that the note? Whew. Okay, so we can do dark colors too, it seems. Oh, well. Guess the plan to make a note didn't work. I'm sorry, a what? Oh, bro. I'm sorry. The music that just started playing as the camera like panned around him and the way that the camera angles were working too, I immediately my thought was like, did this just turn into Death Note? I the the weight of that scene was just completely lost on me because of that. Ow. Bow. Oops, they found you. Bro, there are so few commonalities between. Wait, what? Okay, so I'm guessing that what that guy just took note of is that like she can sew herself. I'm guessing that seemed like a weird shot to show us. Arrogant looking woman. That's a waste. You fool! You just had to pretend you couldn't read it. You fool! You got played. Oops. Yup. Yup. Wait, is this Death Note? That was a bold act of disrespect, I feel, but I'm here for it. I really like her character. How do you think? I mean, how do you find out? Wrong question. I understand. What? Yeah, it's fine. Assuming. Oh my god, really good. Really good set design with the scenes. A lot of stuff being. A lot of details on the environment that doesn't need to be there. You're really bad at hiding this, girl. Oh, she tore that from her. Oops. She ripped apart her own skirt, which is why it's okay. feel like she's put herself into an even more dangerous position actually right now. I don't think this is on you actually, buddy. Oh, really? Okay, okay, that's actually good. So by the way, can I leave? It, huh? She hates this. Put simply, it was a big promotion. Oh, and now suddenly we're on the front lines of something. Oh, well, more people are dying. Big rip. It's poison! I mean, that was a pretty sudden pass out from them. I don't know. Fainting. I think that was the word I was looking for. All right, let's watch the ED because this is new too. I like the song. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be much interesting visually in the ED. Okay, finish the ED. Yeah, it was a nice, chill sort of song with not really anything visually interesting, as I thought was going to be the case. And then after the credits were over, there was no like post-credit scene. It looked like it was just a preview for the next episode, which are things that I always skip. I don't when I'm watching something, I don't like spoilers of any kind of variety. I always skip next episode previews. If there's a show that I know I'm going to be watching, I pretty much always skip things like trailers and promo stuff leading up to it. If I'm going to watch a show, I want to see what's happening in the show like as it's happening. I don't want foreknowledge generally. So yeah. As for this episode, I'm probably not going to talk too much necessarily, just because it is the first episode, right? And you got to let these things before I go on my 20-30 minute tangents and spiels about this, that, and the other thing that I observed from the show that I'm watching. I kind of need to give them time to build up, right? um, but I would say initial impressions are pretty good. Visually, it was as I expected, which is really good looking. Really, really pretty, really just really well animated overall. Everything, people, environments. There were a lot of shots of flowers, which again I mentioned, like the OP had ton of flowers, which like I'm guessing that there's going to be like a theme of like not just flowers, but just like herbalism in general, given that, apothecaries work with different kinds of stuff like that to make medicines. So I'm guessing that that's going to be a bit of a kind of recurring element, is stuff like that being shown to us and just giving the animators a chance to just show off, I guess. um, the music was also, I noticed, I'm usually, I've said this before, I'm usually not like someone who comments a ton on music just because uh I don't feel like I have a lot of knowledge in that area. I don't feel like, I'm not a musician. I don't play any instruments or anything like that. So, and I don't even like necessarily listen to a ton of music. So I don't feel like I really have the kind of expertise, so to speak, to be qualified to like talk extensively about that sort of stuff. But it is something that I was kind of aware of throughout the episode that I did really like the ways in which the music and the soundtrack was adding to scenes and was just kind of increasing my overall enjoyment of what I was watching. So that was really cool. Just kind of, I guess, just kind of like building on and helping to establish the general atmosphere. And then what else? I guess I don't know. Yeah, again, it's just there's not too much to say. I'm getting introduced to characters. I'm being provided like the premise and the setting and all that. I didn't realize that this was. I mean, this is obviously a Japanese anime. I didn't realize that our setting was going to be uh, Chinese. This is the aesthetic and just like a lot of the sort of things that we're being exposed to are definitely more. I can tell they're definitely more Chinese in nature than Japanese. Like the architecture seems more Chinese. The I think even the names seem generally more Chinese than Japanese. And yeah, so that was a little unexpected in a sense, but yeah, I guess so I really what do I want to say? I really like Maomao as a character. I feel like we don't really know much of anything about the other characters thus far, other than like their stations, like their roles, and like their placements on the hierarchy that we have had described to us by Maomao. And so yeah, I don't necessarily know. I don't have like a vibe necessarily, I guess you could say, on any of the other characters really, but Mao Mao is seemingly our main character, and so the fact that I'm really liking her at the at initial introduction bodes really well for I think the series in general. And yeah, there's just I don't think I really need to expound too heavily on what it is about her character that I like. I covered some of those things during the reaction, which is that like she just seems very clever, very observational, very introspective, but there's also just like a bit of maybe absent-mindedness is the wrong descriptor, but like the way that so some of the things that we learned about like the again like the social structures and hierarchies and whatnot, that stuff was internal. And that was through like her internal monologues that we were learning those things. But there were also several moments that she was just like talking out loud to herself when there are a bunch of other people around. And that's kind of what got her in trouble in this episode, right? And so yeah, it's just it's an interesting way to kind of balance, or I guess in a weird way, sort of round out her character, you could say. And it was just cool to see. And again, I just like what I've seen from her so far. Uh, I guess one thing that I kind of want to comment on is that the what I kind of mentioned towards the end there when I was like, "Oh, I feel like this is bad for her. I feel like this gets her in trouble." So them knowing that she was aware of this, what the line of thinking that I was following was them knowing that she was aware of what the ailments were. The fact that she the fact that she went through with such a roundabout way of talking about it led me to believe that she could basically be blamed for not having resolved the issue, for not having basically identified the issue and allowed their medical person to provide a cure, right? Which they didn't even need to provide a cure, right? It was literally just stop using the powder, and that result that would have been everything that was needed. And so I was a bit concerned for her in that regard. You know, she talked about potentially being executed for lying. You know, if this is the kind of setting and environment where you can be executed for something like lying, then I think that it's not unreasonable to think that she could very easily have been like blamed as like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you, you know, the prince would still be alive if you had just come out and said that like you knew what the problem was and this is how we could have, you know, fixed everything and made everybody healthy again, and instead you didn't do that, and so now all this is because of you. Like that, I think that very easily could have been not like a justified uh, blame to be placing on her, obviously, but I think I could have, you know, seen that kind of thing happening. But that wasn't the direction we went with. We basically, and they kind of what was her? I mean, it's going to take me an episode or two to learn names. What was her name? Oh, and especially that I was trying to remember the pink-haired lady's name, but actually her name is like really, I don't, I need to try to pay attention to specifically how to pronounce it. It's like Yoraku or something like that. Anyway, the other's name is like Linghua or something. Uh, I'll get them. It's fine. I've I sometimes think that I'm bad with names, and then like when I watch like other reactors or like other people who are like do media related content for like YouTube or Twitch or TikTok or whatever else, and dear Lord, I have a I have an eidetic memory compared to some of these people, I swear. But anyways, the pink-haired concubine, the fact that she told us that she upon reading the message then tried to convey the content of that message to the other concubine and was basically, you know, as we saw, kind of accosted for it and was accused of like lying and trying to, you know, sow dissent and whatnot and all that. That tells us that like, oh, if Maomao had tried to come forward with this information, she probably would have just been rejected. She probably would have been, you know, denied any chance at being believed, and it arguably would have just made things worse for her, like she thought it would, which is why she went through with this roundabout method to begin with. And then I guess possibly the only other thing that I want to comment on for this video is I made the kind of silly jokes, I think twice in this video, um, comparing the series to Death Note with like the big brain, like people trying to outmaneuver and outthink each other and whatnot. And I am wondering, I'm very curious, I'm currently very curious if that was if those elements were relevant specifically as a means for setting us up with this premise, with this kind of like general premise that we're working with here after episode one, or if that's going to be like or if that's actually going to be like a core part of this series, which I don't want to get my hopes up thinking that it is, but if it is, I'm all for it because I'm gonna be completely honest. If you go back and watch Death Note now, doesn't hold up. Light is a fucking idiot. um, but I do like those sort of like big brain deduction, like, you know, the psychological thriller type stuff. And again, I know that Death Note is like kind of the series that people think of and point to when you talk about those sorts of things in anime. But I personally was a much bigger fan of Code Geass, and but even just like, just generally speaking, just talking about seeing that kind of stuff in anime, like even with my complaints about Light as a character and Death Note as a series, it's still a fun watch. And if we get something in the Apothecary Diaries that's like along the lines of like Death Note or Code Geass, like I'm gonna be pogging out watching this series. I'm gonna be absolutely loving it if that's the kind of series that we're in for here. But again, don't want to necessarily after the first episode build myself up to expecting something that isn't going to be present. uh, but that is just something that like when that was happening, while I was joking, I was also like, but wait, maybe. So yeah, but with that, I think that is going to be it for this video. I ended up talking for this is a if you are new to this channel because of the Apothecary Diaries, that is something that is not entirely uncommon for me to end up talking for longer than I expected to. This is still, as you check other videos on this channel, such as Dungeon Meshi videos or freerun videos, you will see that this is still far from my longest video on the channel, but it is not uncommon for me to be like, oh, I don't think I have much to say. And then as I get going, being like, you know what, there's also this other thing, there's also this other thing. So in any event, we're going to end things here. If you have made it this far, remember to like the video. Again, those thumbs up are greatly appreciated. And if you have watched this far, if you watch the entirety of these watch-along reactions, then I have to assume that you are enjoying them to some extent, and I think it merits you clicking that little thumbs up button for me. Likes are always appreciated on videos, and you know what else is appreciated? Comments. I generally like to see comments on the videos. Not only does it help with metrics and analytics and blah, 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 but also just I generally like seeing and responding to comments on videos. There are rare instances where that is not the case, but for the most part, I really like seeing comments. So say something down below about the reaction, my thoughts, the episode, the series, without spoilers, of course. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, this video, and until I see you in the next one, take care. Bye-bye. I also forgot to say subscribe if you're new. I was talking about new people checking out other videos on the channel and whatnot, but I also forgot to say if you are new, you should be subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this. Thanks.